The second day of pads for the Houston Texans was a very, very physical one, and it almost culminated in whatever would pass for a melee or a brawl these days, but with one notable exception and something I've never seen before. So just to take you through it, Stephon Diggs caught a pass over the middle as he was going to the ground. It looked like somebody may have either laid a shoulder into him or just tumbled over the top of him. And at the end of a day of very, very chippy practice, the offensive players filed their complaints. There was a big scrum, and you can't really tell if any punches were thrown. I think more people were trying to break it up than otherwise. We see C.J. Stroud trying to get in, I'm guessing, to be a peacemaker, but then Lonnie Johnson, to his credit, holding him out. And it looked like this is going to be like one of thousands of interactions there are like this in training camps, in football in general, not just in the NFL, where nobody actually fights. But then, as Dalton Schultz was walking away from the fray, Derek Stingley, kind of stealthily and obviously premeditated, comes from the side and blindsides Schultz out of nowhere. He loaded up and bam, the scrum reforms. Lonnie Johnson, who had been peacemaker, finds reason to get agitated with somebody else. And notice that Dalton Schultz has his helmet on here. CJ Stroud is saying soothing words in his ears. The sun is going down. The sun is going down. Schultz leaves the frame. And then and then all of a sudden we see Schultz's helmet bouncing along like tumbleweed across the coastal plains. Will Anderson, stand-up human being that he is, wants to try to smooth things over, grabs his helmet for him. Dalton Schultz apparently wants nothing to do with it. And they ended up finishing practice. D'Amico didn't cancel practice or anything like that. But this was a unique situation. It's something that I don't know if I've ever seen a blindside cheap shot like that. Usually there's some kind of an altercation over a play. The guy you're squared off against is angry and you're angry, and maybe you fight, maybe you just shove each other. It gets broken up pretty quickly. But I know I've been asked a few times, hey, what happens in something like this? Do guys carry a grudge? The standard rule is what happens on the field stays on the field. You leave it on the field, you don't bring it into the locker room. Although it's important to note that when you go back out on the field the next day, it's out there on the field. Remember, you left it there? And I'm not going to claim that you don't maybe dial somebody up every now and then when you see him cross into your vision. And I have no idea what led up to this situation, what was said or what have you. But Stingley going after Schultz like that is, again, something I've never seen before. I would imagine that D'Amico will have conversations with all parties involved in this situation. Usually you don't even have to, usually the head coach doesn't have to get involved other than to address the team. But I think you should probably have a conversation with Derek Stingley himself and let him know that, for one, if he wasn't such a good football player, this is the kind of thing that can get a guy lower on the roster. Gonzo, just like that. Most sports fights end up kind of like those videos of dogs barking at each other through a fence on the internet, and then when the fence is removed, they're best buds. And as long as Stingley handles it the right way, approaches Schultz and talks it out with him, gives him some level of an apology, I don't think Schultz is going to carry a grudge. Remember, the two linebackers who have been beefing with C.J. Stroud all offseason, E.J. Speed and Zaire Franklin, actually gave credit to Dalton Schultz about the way he handles his business on Zaire Franklin's podcast, In the Trenches, which I'm guessing they didn't consciously steal from Andy Kalu, but that's the name of it, In the Trenches.
The best part about Schultz is he made me respect it because a lot of like, white, I can say it. A lot of white boys,
they get sensitive.
They get sensitive and be like, "Why are you like, you know what I mean?"
Bro, what do you mean, bro?
Dalton was at it though. Like, you feel what I'm saying? He was at it.
No, he said I fucking can't even tackle. Whoa.
And he wasn't. And the crazy thing was, he wasn't crying to the ref.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it was beef and Dalton got his push back, his push after the play, and I pushed him back or whatever like that, he ain't flop.
Okay.
He ain't look at the ref, so I'm like, all right, you feel me? I can respect
your gangster.
Respect my gangsta. That's what I say to Sean all the time. I get up in his face and I say, don't mistake my kindness for weakness, Sean. Respect my gangsta. And it is, honestly, it's a little bit of something that sometimes young players have to learn is that, look, you're not fighting your average Stanford frat boy here or some trust fund asshole with a moppy haircut from LSU. These are grown men. They are your teammates, and you got to respect them. And if you're going to fight them like a damn man. Let's go out on a few more clips of just how damn chippy that practice was.